They smile at you, yet plot behind your back. They drain your strength, twist your words, and leave you questioning your own sanity. Toxic people, they are everywhere. And here's the brutal truth. They are not just irritations, they are traps. Traps designed to pull you down, strip your focus, and enslave your emotions. But only if you allow it. Think back to the last time someone disrespected you. The sting, the silence, the endless replay in your mind. Did you defend yourself? Did you explode? Or did you sit there burning alive inside your own chest? What if I told you there's another way? Not weakness, not surrender, but a way so strong, it makes you untouchable. And the secret has been hiding for nearly 2,000 years in the writings of Marcus Aurelius. If you want power over toxic people, real power, not just quick comebacks, then you're in the right place. Because today, you'll discover 11 Stoic ways to outsmart manipulators, defend your peace, and instantly shift the balance of power. This is curiosity to wisdom. And if you're ready to build an unshakable mind, subscribe now. Because what follows could change the way you deal with every human interaction. The true battleground is never the insults hurled at you or the petty games others play. It is the space inside your own mind. The wise know this. Your emotions are the first line of defense. And if that wall is breached, you've already surrendered before the fight has even begun. When someone tries to provoke you, they aren't seeking truth or fairness. They're seeking to drag you into their storm, to force you to fight on their terms. That is how toxic people gain power. Not through their words, but through the reaction those words create in you. If anger rises, if disrespect corrodes your focus, then they have already achieved their goal. But here lies the secret. If you refuse to play the role they've written for you, you steal the very script from their hands. You must learn to see their chaos for what it truly is. Noise. Your calm is not weakness, it is strategy. Your restraint is not submission, it is mastery. When you train yourself to meet venom with silence, insults with an unshaken gaze, and deception with clarity, you transform every encounter into practice. Practice for becoming unshakable. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending wounds don't exist. It is about realizing that you alone govern how deep those wounds can cut. Ask yourself, when you are insulted, who controls your judgment? When they spread lies, who dictates whether you suffer from them? If the answer is they do, then you have already handed over your crown. But if the answer is I do, then no matter how loud their fury becomes, you remain sovereign. Remember this, toxic people thrive on reaction. Starve them, and they wither instantly. Respond with composure, and you declare without a word that you cannot be moved. This, paradoxically, is the highest form of power, not the ability to crush another, but the ability to remain untouched by their attempts to crush you. True strength is invisible to those who chase chaos, yet undeniable when they encounter it. For in the silence of your mind lies an empire that no insult can conquer. Picture your mind as an impenetrable fortress, a citadel built not of stone and iron, but of discipline, patience, and clarity. Every toxic person you encounter is an invader, pounding relentlessly at the gates, testing for weaknesses. They provoke, they insult, they spread rumors, all in the hope that you will swing the doors wide open in anger or hurt. And when you do, they march inside, plant their flag, and take control of your inner world. This is why the first law of self-mastery is simple. Never let another person dictate your state of mind. If your walls stand tall and your defenses remain firm, their assaults lose all meaning. What looks like power on their part quickly crumbles into nothingness when met with indifference. Their tantrums, once so loud, reveal themselves as desperate echoes against your stone walls. The fortress mindset does not mean you are cold or unfeeling. It means you are selective. You choose when and how to respond. You do not react out of impulse, but out of strategy. The one who loses control of their temper becomes a servant to the one who provoked it. But the one who observes, waits, and holds their ground is untouchable. Think of it this way. When a storm rages outside your window, you do not rush to stop the wind or silence the thunder. You watch, you wait, you understand that storms pass and your foundations remain. In the same way, toxic people burn themselves out when they find no entry point into your mind. To live by this principle is to transform every encounter into proof of strength. You deny them fuel. You refuse to fight fire with fire, because fire against fire only creates more destruction. Instead, you let their flames lick harmlessly against stone walls that do not catch. You let their fury expend itself in vain. Over time, they will see what they cannot move, what they cannot break, what they cannot conquer. And in that recognition, the fortress of your mind becomes more than protection. It becomes the very declaration of your freedom. There are two more strategies to master, each as subtle as they are powerful. The first is the mirror. Imagine standing before a person who hurls insults, raises their voice, and tries every trick to bait you into their chaos. Most people would meet fire with fire, word with word, anger with anger, and in doing so, they become indistinguishable from their attacker. But the mirror works differently. It reflects back only calm, composure, and restraint. When they rage, you remain steady. When they spit venom, you meet them with silence or with words so measured and clear, they cut deeper than shouting ever could. In that stillness, they are forced to confront not your reaction, but their own ugliness. Few things are more unsettling to the chaotic than being shown, without distortion, the face of their own disorder. The mirror robs them of their advantage because it denies them the emotional entanglement they crave. You do not descend to their level. You compel them to look up at yours. The second is the fire. While the mirror deflects, the fire transforms. Here, the attacks of others do not simply bounce off you. They are consumed and converted into fuel. Every insult, every disrespect, every attempt to tear you down becomes raw material for your growth. Instead of collapsing under their weight, you channel it into your work, your discipline, your mission. Their negativity becomes your spark. What was meant to weaken you instead sharpens your resolve. The more they press, the stronger you become, because you have learned the alchemy of turning poison into power. Think of every betrayal not as an obstacle, but as a reminder to deepen your patience. Think of every sneer not as humiliation, but as a challenge to raise your standards higher. The fire is not about revenge, it is about transmutation, about ensuring that nothing thrown against you is wasted. Together, these two strategies form an unshakable arsenal. The mirror exposes weakness without staining you, and the fire transforms hostility into fuel. Master both, and you are no longer a target. You become something far greater, a force that grows stronger precisely because others tried to break it. Never forget this unshakable truth. Toxic people respect only limits. Left unchecked, they will trample through your time, your energy, and your peace without hesitation. They thrive on weakness, on hesitation, on the person who avoids confrontation in the name of keeping the peace. But peace is not maintained by surrender. It is preserved by boundaries. To stand firm is not cruelty, it is clarity. It is the recognition that your life, your attention, and your well-being are sacred ground, not open territory for anyone to invade. Setting boundaries is not about pushing others away. It is about protecting the core of who you are. To practice this art, you must learn the discipline of short, decisive statements. Boundaries are not long explanations or drawn-out negotiations. They are simple, unshakable lines. When disrespect arises, you say, "I will not tolerate this." If a conversation turns hostile, you end it with, We will not continue in this manner. If a space corrodes your peace, you walk out. No drama, no shouting, no endless justifications. The power of a boundary lies in its firmness, not its volume. You are not asking permission for respect. You are declaring it. This is the essence of boundaries. They are shields, not swords. They are not built to attack others, but to defend what must remain intact. Toxic people may attempt to twist your firmness into coldness or your self-protection into arrogance. Ignore these manipulations. Those who try to shame you for guarding your peace are often the very ones who benefit from its erosion. Boundaries are not selfishness. They are the foundation of strength. Without them, you are endlessly available for exploitation. With them, you teach others how they are allowed to engage with you. The moment a toxic person realizes they cannot cross your lines, their power dissolves. They can rage, they can protest, they can manipulate, but it all collapses against the wall of your resolve. Boundaries tell the world, here I stand, and I will not be moved. And the more consistently you enforce them, the more others come to recognize the truth. Your peace is not up for negotiation. If these tactics resonate, pause here, hit subscribe, join the legion of minds committed to stoic power, and sharpen your defenses. Because what comes next will dismantle toxic influence so completely you'll never see people the same way again. Imagine rising above the battlefield, becoming the observer rather than a participant. From this higher ground, the noise of insults and the clamor of petty drama shrink to their true size, insignificant distractions. Toxic people thrive when they can pull you into the dust, where every word feels urgent and every slight feels monumental. But when you take the vantage point of the observer, you see their games for what they really are, shadows cast to look larger than life but empty of substance. Detachment is your greatest advantage. When you choose not to react immediately, when you step back and watch instead of rushing to engage, you reclaim control over the frame. The manipulator's words lose their sting when you view them from above, much like a grown man watching children squabble over trifles. Their drama does not command you, it merely passes beneath you. Observation without attachment strips away the illusion of their power. Then comes the garden. Think of your attention as fertile soil. Whatever you choose to water will grow. Weeds or roses, chaos or purpose. Toxic people demand your focus because it is the sunlight that keeps their weeds alive. Every moment you obsess over their words, replay their insults, or feed their drama with your energy, you fertilize what should never grow. But when you turn your attention to your mission, your craft, your health, and the relationships that genuinely nurture you, something shifts. The weeds begin to wither, not because you attack them, but because you starve them of what they crave most, your attention. Neglect is a silent weapon, more devastating than confrontation. A garden flourishes not by declaring war on weeds, but by tending diligently to what is worth keeping. Together, these two strategies create a profound shift. The observer keeps you above the fray, where petty games lose their power to distract. The garden ensures your energy is invested in growth, not squandered on conflict. Master both, and you will find that toxic people not only lose their grip on your emotions, they fade from relevance altogether. For when you refuse to water weeds, they eventually disappear, leaving only the strength of what you've chosen to cultivate. Silence is often misunderstood as passivity, as if the one who holds their tongue is the one who concedes defeat. But in reality, silence is not weakness. It is one of the most precise weapons you can wield. The manipulator thrives on noise, on pulling you into endless cycles of reaction. The narcissist feeds on your outrage, needing your emotional energy to sustain their illusion of power. The bully relies on escalation, pushing and prodding until you explode, so they can twist the narrative to their advantage. But silence denies them all of this. It confuses the manipulator because their bait goes unanswered. It disarms the narcissist because their hunger for attention starves in your refusal to feed it. And it enrages the bully because their aggression has nothing to bounce against. To them, silence is suffocating. It is the echo of their own emptiness bouncing back at them. But here lies the deeper truth. Silence is never empty. It is full of weight, of authority, of deliberate intent. Silence says what words cannot. That you are in control of yourself, that you do not grant your energy cheaply, and that not every insult or provocation deserves a reply. When wielded with discipline, silence becomes louder than shouting because it shifts the balance of power. The one who stays silent shows that they are not compelled to dance to another's tune. And for those who are watching, colleagues, family, bystanders, your silence becomes a statement in itself. You are too high above to be dragged into the mud. To use silence effectively, you must understand its dual nature. It is both shield and blade. As a shield, it protects you from being pulled into the storm of another's chaos. As a blade, it cuts away the illusion of their control, forcing them to wrestle with their own noise. Silence can stop an argument faster than shouting ever could, because it leaves the aggressor with no stage, no fuel, no momentum. This is why silence, when mastered, is not retreat, but dominance. The seventh smart way is this: treat silence as a weapon, and let its power speak in ways words never will. There are moments when words are unnecessary, when explanation would only cheapen the strength of your position. In those moments, a single look can dismantle illusions more effectively than 1,000 arguments. This is the cold gaze. It is not anger, not hostility, but something far sharper, calm, unwavering, detached. It carries the weight of someone who is entirely in control of themselves, someone who cannot be baited into chaos. Toxic people anticipate flinching, raised voices, frantic justifications. They live off visible signs that their tactics are working. But when you meet them with a steady, surgical gaze, you rob them of that satisfaction. You are not playing defense. You are showing them, without words, that their power does not reach you. That quiet look unsettles them more than shouting ever could, because it forces them to feel the smallness of their own performance reflected back upon them. Then comes the exit, perhaps the most decisive of all strategies. Walking away is often mistaken for weakness, but in truth it is the ultimate declaration of strength. To leave is not to retreat, but to assert, "This battle is beneath me." Toxic people cannot survive without your presence, without your attention feeding their game. They rely on your participation to keep the drama alive. By removing yourself from the conversation, the room, or even from their life entirely, you deliver a blow they cannot recover from. You do not shout, you do not argue, you do not explain, you simply deny them what they crave most. In that act of removal, you strip away every illusion of control they once thought they had. The cold gaze and the exit work in tandem. One pierces illusions, the other ends them. One unsettles the aggressor in the moment, the other removes you from their grasp forever. When mastered, these strategies place you in a position that toxic people cannot touch. They may rage, they may gossip, they may attempt to claw for your attention, but you will have already moved beyond their reach. The 8th and 9th ways are clear. Pierce with a gaze that shows no fear, and walk away when the game is too small for you to play. You were not placed on this earth to wrestle endlessly with fools, nor to waste your precious hours answering the noise of those who thrive on distraction. Your life is not a debate stage, it is a mission. Toxic people exist like obstacles scattered across a path, not to be engaged forever, but to test whether you can stay focused on where you are going. Their goal is to consume your attention, to drain the very energy you need for the things that actually matter, and here lies the danger. Every minute you spend sparring with manipulators, every hour wasted justifying yourself to haters, every sleepless night spent replaying gossip in your head is a minute stolen from your empire. The trap is not their words, it is your willingness to answer them. The smarter path is to redirect. Instead of feeding their chaos, you feed your mission. Take the sting of insult and pour it into your work. Take the weight of betrayal and use it to fuel your discipline. Let their doubt become the push that drives you toward excellence. You starve them the moment you refuse to engage, and you feed yourself the moment you pour that energy into growth. This is how momentum is built, not by scattering your attention across petty battles, but by concentrating it on a singular purpose. Imagine your mission as a great fire, burning brighter with every log you place upon it. Each time you choose to argue with a fool, you steal wood from your own fire and toss it into theirs. But when you stay disciplined, when you take every attack and redirect it toward your goals, your fire grows while theirs burns out. Over time, the difference becomes undeniable. They remain trapped in their noise, while you rise, built by the very energy they tried to steal. This is the essence of the 10th way. Refuse to waste even a second in endless debate. Refuse to justify yourself to those who do not deserve the XP. La Nation. Redirect everything, the insult, the gossip, the sabotage, into your mission. For in the end, the most devastating reply to any toxic person is undeniable achievement. Finally, the 11th smart way. Embody calm dominance. Toxic people crave chaos. They want you to mirror their noise, to be pulled into their storm. Instead, you must become the stillness that unsettles them, the unmoving eye of the hurricane. This is not weakness, nor is it passive surrender. It is the highest form of psychological mastery, the power to remain untouchable while others unravel. When you stand unshaken, others instinctively recognize your authority without you ever needing to assert it. And this is where the ultimate shift occurs. You are no longer their target. You are their mirror, their reminder that chaos cannot conquer calm. You become the fortress no one breaches, the garden no one poisons, the emperor of your own mind. Their weapons of manipulation, drama, and guilt simply break against the walls of your serenity. And so you rise, not merely surviving toxic people, but outsmarting them, defending your dignity, and mastering the battlefield of the mind. This is not just strategy. This is identity. This is the Stoic way.